Yes, thank you very much, and welcome to Wesley Clover Parks for the fourth leg of Major League Show Jumping. And what an exciting competition we have here today. Of course, this being the five-star Grand Prix qualifier this afternoon. I'm joined here by Michelle Vaillancourt, of course, Canadian Olympic medalist and the designer of this course. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us a little bit then about how it is for you to design a course in this ring, because it really is stunning. And tell us a little bit as well about how the grass affects your building.
Well, the grass is always problematic, really, no matter where we go, because unlike a sand surface, where you could keep jumping the same jump all day long, where on grass, obviously, after so many rounds, jump needs to move around. So it's just a little bit more work as far as the staff is concerned, as far as the jump crew is concerned. Between each class, we do a lot of changes. But technically, I love grass. I think the horses jump best on grass than any other surface. And the jumps look more beautiful than on sand, for sure. This venue is very special. I remember when it was built, a friend of mine, a real dear friend of mine, Robert Jolicoeur, actually designed the field and the bank and, you know, the grub. That's his little touch. You know, he used to do that a lot. But it's a special event. It's a special show, and I wish that we're going to have a good class.
So talk to me about the shape of the ring here and what you've considered in terms of that as well.
Well, the shape is a little bit square. You know, it fills up fast. You know, once you start putting jumps in it, all of a sudden it fills up fast. But I mean, it's big enough to do just about anything, you know, a course designer wants to do. So it's not like working indoor, for instance, where, you know, the dynamic changes altogether, where in this field, it's just like building any outdoor event or any outdoor courses, really.
And I see there are quite a few big questions in here, looking particularly at that triple combination. Where have you set some stiff tasks for the riders today?
Well, you know, I get asked that a lot, and technically I try not to have one area that's the most difficult part of the course. I like to have it really well balanced. So the key for me is to have rails come down a little bit everywhere, not in one round. But the main objective is to promote the rideability and the skills of the riders, so they can, you know, manage the technical part of the courses. I mean, the heights and the colors and all of that, of course, it has something to do with it. But technically, every line is a slightly different question. And one line may be really easy for a specific type of a horse, and another line may ride difficult. So it's very much horse related on what you're sitting on at that moment. But so that's kind of my style, you know. I like to kind of throw it out there and have a lot of things that are not so easy.
Well, thank you so much. We'll let you get back to your preparations for the class. We just have the first horse into the ring in just a few moments' time. Stay with us for this five-star Grand Prix qualifier.
Yes, thank you, Hannah. And there we see the glorious ring here in Ottawa. Setting sail, ready for our Steelcraft Doors Products Grand Prix qualifier. $142,500 in the prize fund. So it is no small class by any stretch of the imagination. Delighted to say, alongside me is also a voice of many of the big Canadian shows here too, is John Garner. John, good afternoon to you.
Stephen, how are you?
Looking forward to a big afternoon of sport. We've got a beautiful arena to look onto, and we are getting set for that. There's a rundown of who's coming up in this class. We'll kick off with Lacey Gilbertson, several for the Spyco Spies. Of course, team competition comes up tomorrow. We've got legends in there from Matt Cohn through to Ken Farrington, of course, last year's winner as well. Adrian Sterling, World Championship medalist Vanessa Hood, and a new ride for her in Vins, go 11th of the order of this class. Going to see over 30 in the first round of this Grand Prix qualifier under traditional format for the afternoon, with a jump-off class. So in theory, clears going forward to the jump-off a little later on. And as we saw there, Michelle Vaillancourt, our course designer for this exciting track. Later on, Ashley Bond, McLean Ward, great to see him back in the saddle as well. And then down to, of course, the home top riders in Erin Ballard and many others that feature in the field, including Tiffany Foster, who won the opening Grand Prix, of course, the series for Major League Show Jumping as well. Natalie Dean coming later into the lineup, as is US rider Charlotte Jacobs as well. And we're going to hand over to Sloan Midwanier for the scene of the anthem.
Our home and native land, ton bras et porte le pays, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire les tu épopées et plus brillant exploit. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well, very nicely done, and there takes a little bow. Well done, well deserved. And we're getting set for an afternoon of excitement out on the grass from a little earlier on the lineup here. The tremendous build-up is underway. First is out on course, and it is going to be Lacey Gilbertson to kick off this Grand Prix qualifying class. The Steelcraft Door Products Limited, $142,500. And a reminder too that the lineup in terms of the starting order of the Grand Prix comes because of this class and tomorrow's class as well. So it's joint across those two, and so you're vying for pole position there. But today you want to win this one because there's plenty of prize money attached to it for the rider who was top 3 in the American Gold Cup last year. Now, Michel Valancourt, as we've heard, setting the course. John Garner's had a little look at it. He's not given a lot away this afternoon.
It's pretty darn big, Stephen. I mean, I was just going to say, even right out of the gate, the first jump, and down it comes for Lacey. Normally the first fence, as the legendary Pamela Carruthers used to say, should be a gift. That is not. It's actually pretty square and very tall. 145 by 145 right out of the gate as she makes her way 3 to 4. The MLSJ Oxer over to Brook Street, and there we have Yankee Oscar Whiskey, the call sign for Ottawa International Airport. Rolling back over to the Mark Motors Oxer into the triple combination. Oh, got another rail down there. Swinging left-handed.
Time allowed 79 seconds for those following on as well.
You have to say, Stephen, you could not have a better day for show
Oh,
jumping.
perfect. Perfect.
Well ridden there. It's a good 6 strides, and that's a healthy Oxer coming into there. And now she makes the turn for home. 5, and then going to be a 7 likely coming here to the RBC Oxer.
That one's going to come down as well, leaves them at 78, 67, 16. So just inside that time allowed there for Lacey Gilbertson from that point of view. Plank comes down in that final line, and John, unfortunately, it was straight from the off. There were a rail behind.
And that's a tough one to catch up on, isn't it? But
yep.
I think in some ways, for a younger athlete like Lacey, you put it behind and you say, okay, we're here for experience. Let's have at it.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, it's going to be 16 for her today. As I say, there's another spin tomorrow in terms of going for those qualifying spots and position. Jordan Coyle knows what it's like to be in the number 1 spot with Ariso here, for the man who's won a host of Grand Prix on this horse, including on the Major League show jumping before now. And both brothers, Daniel and Jordan, with us here this week from Ireland. Now we'll see how Ariso fares. Ariso, his own style with the horse, and a wonderful partnership that's built over the last few seasons, including, of course, that 5-star win in California previous to that. Now, again, it's going to be, John, a good gauge here in terms of time. Lacey was a little closer to it. I expect the others to be 3 or 4 seconds faster.
Yeah, I agree, Stephen, and I think, but I think Lacey being able to sort of sneak in under, that will give Michel, make him be feeling really good about his time allowed.
Yep.
I mean, she didn't, she wasn't really dawdling. She stayed on the gallop. You say this horse really does have his own technique, doesn't he? Very good in front. For me, he gets a little bit stiff through the body, but he does know where the top of the jump is.
Down there, they get to the water tray. And again, that water tray just sort of sits isolated on its own. You've got to really be on your game for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you walk a course like this, Stephen, to me that's a bit of a you feel like it's a breather jump.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a real test, but my goodness, those can catch you out just as easy.
Now here's the classic question, down to the plank. And the last fence, he's going to be about 73, 74.
Yeah,
there we go.
Left a stride out there coming home.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Carl King earlier. He was figuring 6 strides for his as well. So there we go, first clear round.
Absolutely, and so it is clear round number 1 going to Jordan Coyle from that point of view. As you say, horses for courses in terms of looking at the distance. I mean, with those that have watched a Riso before, it's an absolutely ground-covering monster, just eats turf away there. So to come down there, but again, it's a little bit of curve. You can play with it a little bit. I mean, if you were a little bit unsure, you could always go out to 8 if you want to.
Exactly. You stick them on a bending line and you're spoiled for choice.
Shane Sweetenham now of Ireland and getting into several of those high up in the world rankings, and Shane world number 7 right now for the Irishman, and it's been a brilliant 12 months for him, of course, continuing what has been a solid career for a long time now, based in the US, finished second in Dinard in the Grand Prix in France just a few weeks ago, and a previous winner, of course, of the American Gold Cup. Now, this is a horse we haven't seen much of either, Sioux Z, and he's got a number of new horses that are coming out here. This is the 9-year-old Comme Faux. Comme Faux was the very good horse ridden by Marcus Enning and goes back to the great Retina Z as well. So certainly bred for the job, and it's interesting how many Comme Faux now are getting to the right age where they're coming to the top.
Well, it just takes a minute, doesn't it, for these lines to really find their way. You're never quite sure, but I mean, Shane Sweetenham, you have to say, I mean, he basically lives on Michael Blake's Irish team now, doesn't he?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. He'll want that one back. That was just a little bit casual for me through that turn there, Stephen.
And this is the thing. I mean, this is going to be a good experience week for this horse.
Yeah.
He can play around with the rise this week as well from that point of view. You know, we've seen the same from Kent Farrington as his 8 and 9-year-olds have been coming through over the last season or so. I mean, obviously won the Grand Prix last week with a 9-year-old, but they're just coming to their prime spot now, end of August, to really say, okay, let's have a proper go.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a proper course.
Yeah.
Easily done. Plenty of space there in the time allowed. The one rail down, though, the Mark Motors. Easy for me to say. Liverpool Oxer out of the turn. He just went past it as he came through the turn. He wanted to press to go get that back rail. He was just a little bit too close.
Well, Ali Ramsey now and Benita for the next to the Canadians, part of the Northern Lights team, and of course they've been on the podium in the last few weeks as well in Traverse City, and followed that up in Angelstone just last week as well. And so they've been flying pretty high. It's been a really good season for them so far, which is great to see. Onto the home soil, puts that extra little bit of pressure for them as well. She finished well in Vancouver to kick things off on that first stage of the series this year as well. So should be coming in with some confidence.
Oh, yeah, another one. First fence.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, Steve, I mean, every time that comes down, I'm going to say exactly the same thing. When I walked that course, I was like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
That first fence, it's an absolute monster. She had a lovely trip this morning in the winning round in the 5-star class. So she'll be brimful of confidence, coming back from an injury herself. A little bit of a rub there on the Oxer coming in. Balanced up nicely for the triple. Keeps a nice rhythm and tempo around here on Benita.
And that's what you say. I mean, that's not a giveaway fence. You think you've got loads of space, but you've got to come at it in the right rhythm, the right approach. Nice pace to it.
Well, all of those, Steve, and then you're, you know, that's a place also that you have to be mindful of the time allowed.
Yep.
You know, if you're a little behind the clock there, you've got to be so careful. Michelle's not giving you a lot of spots.
Just trying to hold off the plank there, didn't quite happen, and then going to leave her on the 8. Just cuts across the last time, 74.08. So we've seen a couple in the 74 mark. They're coping with that okay, but a couple down there, John.
Yeah, and again, she will be more disappointed, I think, than Lacey will. But then he just never really got his focus on that That plank, though, Stephen, is optically a little bit difficult when you come down that line. Just blends in a little with the stripy rails underneath.
Dark there, plain black plank on the Royal Canadian Mounted Police fence. I mean, there's loads of colour on the side of it, and colour underneath it, and then to just drop something on top that's just got nothing to it. A little bit harder straight off that rustic triple. And that's what it's there for. Concolor and Matt Cohn, and delighted to see the Canadian Olympian back in action here. He's been winner on Major League jumping before now in the Grand Prix of Angelstone, and with a big jumping ride here. And he's as consistent as ever.
He is something else, is Mr. Cohn. Celebrated his 71st birthday earlier this week. Doesn't look a day over 71.
I'll let you say that. I'm going to stay out of it.
I did say that and ran off. He's not very quick anymore.
I still think he'd outstrip me running across the arena, so don't worry. But you know, and again, it's back to the old phrase that the form is temporary, class is permanent.
Yes.
But these guys, you watch him, you watch John Whittaker, you watch that group, and they can just keep producing it.
And he hasn't
Great
changed.
basics.
He just hasn't changed. I mean, if you superimpose this video of what we're saying right now over his his Beijing Olympics or 10 years before, the only thing that's changed is his hair color. Look at that. Oh, it's too bad. Really balanced nicely, and then just, for me, got a little bit quiet. Lost the impulsion. He likes these horses with this big round canter, and then he can just stay in the rhythm. Incredible hunter rider back in the day as well. He gave me some hunter lessons years ago, nearly killed me.
Got to use all those muscles.
Oh my gosh, and it's me. It's horrifying. But like you say, it's great to see him still at. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, gives it air at the triple bar. No trouble at all at the plank. Coming home on the 4, might be a fraction behind on time. Just going to touch over the time. Is going to be 2 for time, finishing on 6, 80.35. What I'd call a consistent round there, John.
He really was, and I think had he not had the rail, maybe he's thinking a little bit more of the time. But Mac is a rider that's got a plan and will not change it.
Just has that Mark Motors fence down there. A number of the cars that you'll see around the arena, all from Mark Motors, everything from Porsches to Defenders, all available through them, and it's great to have them on board alongside a really good list of supporting sponsors here this week in Ottawa as well, and thanks to all the team here at Wesley Clover Parks as well, producing this event once again, our second year here, and it looks even better than the last. And it was a really good start last season. Susan Horn, of course, is well acquainted with this venue. Kurlo van der Bosrands for the next of the Canadian riders. Susan, originally from Bolton, Ontario, also part of Nations Cup earlier on this year, and placed in the traditional Canadian venues in the last few weeks, including, of course, the summer season in Spruce Meadows, and then across to Caledon, and then up here to Ottawa to continue that Canadian circuit. As you say, you've just got to be a little bit on your game as well of watching the first. It's not an easy handshake.
No.
Yeah, and I wasn't leading into that.
Here's one we saw earlier, folks.
Yeah. So again, and it'll be interesting to see him a little bit steady there.
Wow, she really misjudged her line and her turn, and I think she was looking for Kurlo to come off the leg a little bit more through the corner. Ended up getting way too deep, way too soft. Bad combination. That was better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Susan Horn ride. Just sit behind a little bit, close the leg, allow the horse to stretch.
It's a nice pace off that.
Come on.
We'll go. Again, sucking back a bit, coming off the entrance. Yeah, sensibly takes a turn at that point.
I think we might be getting a
yes
hand wave here.
I think it looks like deciding to retire there for Susan and Kurlo van der Bosstrand, which is a little bit of a shame.
Well, maybe not.
A little bit of discussion going on there. Maybe. I'm not going to speak too soon. She might just go and pop another fence yet. See what her plan is.
Yeah, just taking a courtesy jump.
So retiring there, Susan Horn and Kolo van der Bosstrand. We see the one clear of Jordan Coyle so far. Shane Sweetnam just on the 4, both of those in the 74 mark. Time allowed to say of 79 seconds around Michelle Valancourt's course this afternoon. Richie Maloney and Cocoa Beach, well-established partnership now on the 11-year-old Holsteiner mare by Casal. Casal, of course, which was the fantastic horse ridden by Rolf-Göran Bengtsson to win many, many Grand Prix throughout the, I suppose, just after the 2010s, all that sort of area.
It sounds like it was yesterday.
It does,
like
and I was
15 years ago.
I know, I was trying not to get too close into that one. I actually did his retiring Grand Prix, and I've got a horrible feeling it was about 10 years ago now. But well, that was a fairy tale finish in Hamburg, but that's a different story for a different day. Richard Maloney and Cocoa Beach, the Irishman again, US-based, long-established career, everything from American Gold Cup to 5-star Grand Prix for Richie. Part of the team for the Eye Candy squad as well.
He's got a great sense of humour, this lad. I really enjoy hanging out with him. He's very self-deprecating, but he really can ride. Hey, we got one over the first fence.
There we go.
There we go. And we're away.
I mean, we walked down. Was there much discussion about that first fence or not? Did you get a chance to talk to anyone or not? What did you think?
Well, I got very lucky, and I walked the course with the ground jury and Michel, and his feeling was that it's a very good field, and he wasn't afraid of starting off bold. Yeah. So well, you've certainly done that. Yeah. I mean, it's you usually expect to have, if you're going to have an Oxer, it's quite rampy. This one is not. It's maybe like a 3/4 shim.
Pretty square.
It's very square. Well, certainly very square for a first jump.
Richie Maloney coping with this well so far.
This is where you see the experience, isn't it? Look at that loft there. Trusted him. Can't override this triple box. It will make the 5 strides a little more delicate. Oh, he got by with it.
Yes, and he was just trying to quieten that down the line.
Caught out with him.
Just that last fence going to drop 4 at 76.48. And just not quite the balance of the final fence. He would have wanted to see them nicely through the early run here.
But I think it's a little bit what you were saying, Steve. When you get on that bending line, if you don't commit to the line that you know you need for your horse's stride length, you get off on a different distance, and it just looked like Richie maybe got slightly inside of what he really needed to be for that 7.
Well, it'll leave him on the 4 and still leaves him in a good position so far. He goes into 3rd at the moment. Shane Sweetnam a little bit quicker than that at 74.93, so he sits in 2nd spot at the moment, in theory, based on the fact that we'll have some more clear rounds, and I'm going to lay my career on the line and say we are. This is my retirement day, or I'm right.
You heard it here first, people.
Jordan Coyle with Arisa with the 1 clear, and it might well come from this direction. Ken Farrington and Landon, being a really terrific horse for him. Now 10 years of age by Comme il faut plus. And again takes a similar line to Comme il faut. In fact, the next generation moving on from that as well. And now for Kent, who comes in on the hot streak, winner of the Grand Prix here last year as well, and winner just last week at Angelstone. But that's been on the back of a string of wins, but rarely has his career looked like anything else. And he has the first fence as well. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I was literally just going to say, I mean, Kent is the 8th ranked rider in the world, and as a partnership, these two are number 3 in the world. And they're batting less than 1,000 through the first 2 jumps. Wow, did not see that coming.
Well, settling in now. So he comes back to defend his title out on the grass here in Ottawa this week. Like I mentioned, has been really the last 2 years building up this new string of horses. We saw Tulena last week winning the Grand Prix at Angelstone. Landon, who this year has come out and performed, to say, in Nations Cup Grand Prix across the country. Kent is just so accurate all the time, which is a surprise to see those first two down. Anyway, let's finish it on a high note. It's a nice straight shot at the last. There we go.
You know, if you take the first 2 jumps out of the way, I mean, that was absolutely textbook. But
Yeah,
just a little casual maybe at that first one. We've seen so many. Really no reason for that second fence to come down, but I'm sure Kent will do his debrief.
yeah. Adrian Sterlings and Origa for the World Championship medalist. And this 9-year-old by Thunder van der Zoete, who again has been getting a little more exposure this season as well, with Adrian just been moved up into these 5-star classes in the last few months as well. Competed in Traverse City a few weeks ago for her, and starts to build up again the newer string for her. Finished well in Spruce Meadows too, back in the summer. Again, so should be familiar with the grass here.
Right. Such a different feel riding on the turf than the sport footing that we have now pretty much everywhere.
And it's nice to have that balance as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, you know, okay, if you're going to pick one, I'd love for everything to be on grass, but it's not. It's not going to happen. I mean, it takes a lot of managing. It takes a lot of work.
We're clear of the first.
Should be a real
As we
celebration
say,
at
they're
this
up.
point.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Nice through the first couple. A little steady to start with.
Look at the push from behind on Origa. The old adage, no scope, no hope. We have plenty of scope here.
So hopefully loads of hope.
It just looks like he wants to almost gets pushed through these front end. But he's careful enough. He's keeping a nice steady rhythm. 375 meters a minute is the required pace, which is quick enough. But they do have some time around here. Oh dear.
Just a little toe on that.
Just a little bit casual off the ground with his front legs there at the Maple Leaf Hoxer.
Again, they want to be thinking about the 4 falters, getting a little bit of pace here, because at the moment they're in for some potentially good money. And I did point it out early on, they are going to be behind the clock, unfortunately, here.
Yep.
But again, you know, they're getting rounds under their belt as a partnership now this season. It's going to be 4 to add for time, 82.65. So it does make it a little bit expensive with the ticking of the clock there. So 8 they go up to, and so moves them down the order, and that will slot them into 7th place for Adrian there at the Canadian fence.
Yeah,
John.
just going forward and going up.
Yep.
And then that just rolls that pole out. Doesn't take much.
Vanessa Hood and Vince is a new ride for her. It was actually ridden by McLean Ward recently, and actually connecting all the dots was owned by Nick Skelton and Laura Crouch. Now into the ownership of Vanessa. McLean winning on this horse. I think it was a Challenge Cup back at Wellington, Florida earlier on this year as well, very effectively. And again, growth of her string. She's now training with the McLean Ward team. Vanessa part of Team Helios here. Finished well in Traverse City in the winning rounds there. Good solid finishes in Upperville, and also with the winning team here last year as well in Ottawa. So should come in again with some good memories. Always helps.
It does. It means more, I think, sometimes than you think it does.
Yeah.
It boosts that confidence, and it just makes you feel, hey, I can do this. It takes elements of doubt out. It's I mean, in this sport, much like as you know with golf, you do way more losing than winning.
But you do get your places that you walk in the door and you feel much more confident
Right.
in. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But anyway, well over the Mark Motors fence. Interestingly, that Brook Street fence a little bit earlier, the skinny there, white poles, hasn't caused too much of a problem so far. I thought that might just play a little bit more of a card yet, but we'll see. But this is a really nice round put together so far by Vanessa.
Super. She's going to be feeling very comfortable. Hitting all the distances. Oh, she got a little bit long there.
Yeah.
Good recovery. Now you just got to watch a little that she doesn't get too careful for this triple bar. Pick your pace up, Vanessa. Come on.
That's it.
There we go. Now she can settle a little. Trust the carefulness and then bring it home.
Time should be okay.
Don't panic.
Ah. 76.95, just going to finish on the 4 for Vanessa Hood. Again, was going so well to that last fence caught out. There were a couple of little
look at this. It was a
moves,
mile off of that. He gave her a really good effort. I'd love to see that from the side angle, Stephen, because I think did exactly the same as before. He just shaved a little bit. You've got to be so committed and stay out and then make the turn to get those 7 strides to fit. You get slightly on the inside.
And you just run out of room.
Yeah, 6.5, 6 3/4, and you're done and dusted.
Grant Saganau, Cantuccini, the 12-year-old by Cloney for Grant, based these days in Aiken, originally from Texas, and now a regular feature on the Major League Jumping Tour as well, because he was jumping off in the first stages of the teams back into Vancouver as well. And so for the American, who's part of the Crusaders squad, has now got himself well established this season. Finished well at Traverse City just a few weeks ago with a different ride with Yogi on that occasion too.
I got to know Grant a little bit over the last couple of years down in Ocala, World Equestrian Centre. Down comes number 2. I'm not sure I've seen a course in recent times, Steve, where the first 2 fences have been so problematic.
And yet, as I say, that was the one for me that I thought was going to be playing more of a part of that. You come down that line on that little skinny there, and you've got a nice 4-stride distance to the Ottawa fence, and it seems to just come up nicely.
Yeah. This is a real 5-star track Michel Vaillancourt has produced. You can't take anything for granted. As he said earlier with Hannah, that he's looking for sort of rails pretty much everywhere.
Which he's getting at the moment.
He really
fairly
is.
Spread at the moment.
Yeah.
And again, $142,500 on the class, and a lot of places that would be Grand Prix money. Did well to get the pace back there.
Yeah. There's a lot of places this would be your Grand Prix. This course. Again, just ran out of room.
Going to leave him on 16 at 76.33, and going to be 4 down for Grant Sager this time with Cantuccini. Number 2 dropping to the floor. What did you make of walking down there? Because I mean, there's plenty of space from 1 to 2.
Well, so here's the thing. I didn't walk it.
No, I
because
didn't.
I looked at one and went, oh my goodness me, it's a mile away. Now, you know, a lot of riders will have stepped it out, but for me, I think it's a case of you jump the first jump, and then you establish your rhythm, you establish your tempo, and you commit to the line. The distance, in theory, takes care of itself. And I just wonder if they're just getting a little bit confused, maybe. And maybe the horses are just jumping 1 so much differently.
Daniel Blumen and Ireland now with the 10-year-old that, again, he's establishing now into the 5-star classes more by Zambezi. Of course, we know well with the likes of Gemma and a list of horses in recent years. Now the rider for Israel. Oh!
Are you kidding me?
Well, that was not expected on either side.
I'll have to have a look at that, but I mean, you have to say, Stephen, he looked like he almost flat missed to that.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably see that in a replay, see what happened there.
You have got to be ready for this jump right out of the gate. It is not a get me over, get me going jump at all.
Daniel, good season so far. Part of that Olympic qualifying team a few weeks ago in Prague. Won the Invitational in Lexington. Back as part of the 3-day event this time now. I say Ireland just being moved up into more of these 5-star classes, and no trouble at all this time. And again, here, John, this is what he's got to do now, is get a good experience into this horse.
Yeah, absolutely. But interesting for me, Stephen, is that this is the first time in the ring this week for Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Which was quite a big, serious fence to be coming into at that point.
Absolutely. I mean, it's Riders all have their plans and have their tactics of what they want to do and why they want to do it. I think maybe next time out, you might have a bit of a warm-up class.
Well, not the round. That's better.
Yeah.
So it's not the round we've seen out of them recently, so that's more like it.
And you'll be wondering where that was 5 fences ago. Much more confident now.
Yeah. I was saying, this is what Daniel's got to do now, is just put the confidence levels back in the tank.
You
Nice
see
the
there,
last.
okay, and that's a great example of commit to your line, commit to your distance. He was doing 6 all the way down there, and he stayed through the flow on it and jumped it beautifully.
Nicely done. Finishes on a high note for Daniel Bloomer there, and Ireland. Not the score we were expecting from them, unfortunately. And so these are 27 in total, because there's time to play into that as well at 89.52. Ashley Vogel and Ceres van Het Mushoff, an 11-year-old by a Garno seat, the French-bred horse for the American rider. Again, this being the season where this pair have started to move into these big classes. Trains with Shane Sweetnam, has done for quite some time, part of their team for the Spy Coast Spies as well this year. And Ashley Vogel herself, who's been a successful under-25 rider from that point of view, and past Euro gold medalist with the young riders as well, back to 2021, 22 years of age now. Some nice wins in Vancouver back in May as well. Now, after completing her studies too earlier on this year, able to concentrate now completely back on the riding side. Nice shot at the first. Good rhythm to start off with.
You know what does amaze me though these days, Steve, is the how cultured some of these young riders are these days. They really come in, know what they're doing. They have a lot of confidence. I mean, they have some great horses, but you know, the horse can only do so much. Just even that little piece there. You see how it actually landed over the oxer, and she went and set herself.
Yeah.
Raised her hands up and said, "No, you're going to come back to me here." Ceres listened, folded out beautifully out of the triple. Oh, just too far off.
Get home with a good 4 and you're still in a good position.
Just balanced a little too much down that line. Ended up making the 6 a little too long. Finished off very, very well. What a trip. Finishes
on 4 at 76.90, so just one down for Ashley Vogel this time with Ceres. We take a little look at it, as you say, just gets far away from there, gets a lovely line to the last as well, commits down that, and will leave them just on 4. Maybe shaves a little bit of time too, and so Ashley going into 4th place so far. There's me talking about clears. We've got one of those, Jordan Coyle, and Oriso on 74.39.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you all these years, Stephen.
Yeah, well established.
Enjoy your retirement.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if I was going to finish, now's the week. It's a lovely sunny day to finish on, isn't it?
Oh, my gosh.
Jordan Coyle on the 1 clear. Shane Sweetnam in 2nd. Richie Maloney in 3rd at this point. Sean Jobin and Darius. And for the Canadian, who's been jumping a long list of consistent rounds in the last few weeks as well. Clear after clear that's been coming from this combination, and they'd hope to keep that up again today. Well establishes his spot. Ready for the Kubota fence at 2. But again, this is where you've got to be a little bit careful in this round, and he's got a nice enough pace, I would think, on here, but you want to be careful all the way around that you don't get too careful and lose yourself on the clock.
No, for sure. I don't anticipate a problem for Sean with Darius. This is a quick horse, and you have to keep him moving forward. He's one that if you balance too much, you can get easily distracted. But when he is on, he's been such a great partner for Sean. He's a quirky little monkey. just there. That's be where ordinarily you'd think about going forward. He knows he can't do that with him. And he's a little horse, but he really does fight for you. Look at that. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
He just floated on down there. Come on, Sean. Spending a lot of time on his data, is Sean. Understanding how to focus his training. Oh, my goodness.
Get it straight for the last, and he can. He just gets the spot there in the end at the final, but it's going to cost him a couple of times there because he just drifted out there as well. So it takes him a 2 time, finishing on 6 there, 80.14.
For me, coming out of the triple to the Liverpool, that cost him probably a second there.
Yeah.
Tough break for Sean Jobin.
Well, down goes the plank, and again we're spreading the fences that are down across the course as well, coming in different directions now. And Chloe Reid crossover again has been a really good combination the last few weeks. Finished well in Angelstone last week as well. 10-year-old had a variant by Cascadel for the American from Ocala, Florida too. Now for Chloe, so he's been building up several very good horses. She had that really good finish. What last year was well in the 5-star Rolex Grand Prix in Wellington as well. But this pair finishing top 5 in Tryon in the last few weeks as well. Just jumped around. She just jumped around for 2 times last week too at Angelstone, the Grand Prix, and a really good run down in Ocala as well at the World Equestrian Centre there to get some nice #1 spots against the name. That was with Chelsea and some other rides, but it all builds the confidence.
Well, again, Chloe, think of her as a young rider. I mean, she's been doing this for a minute already. But she exudes confidence. She's been superbly coached by Marcus Beerbaum. And that, to me, shows where real coaching is that even if your ground person isn't there, you know what a plan is. You know how to go about it.
Yeah, and she's been carrying that forward herself now for a good time now, very effectively again.
Come on, Chloe.
Nice.
Really good. She's not overdoing it. Crossover does carry good pace anyway, naturally. Now you can balance. Stay tall here.
Again, going to sit on the 474.87. It's the plank that comes down for Chloe Reid and crossover. They look to just be getting a little to the left. They're trying to establish that line to the last.
Here's the thing to me, Stephen, is that I think it's the plank that's coming down, but you look at the pace she carried through the corner to the triple bar. I guarantee you she landed 2 feet further into that line than she was anticipating. You have to me, when you've got a distance like that, you have to trust their scope at the triple bar, almost getting a little bit quiet so that you can ride coming out over the plank. You get hanging on there, then they lose their shape.
And in theory, when you're coming to a triple bar, you're getting deep to it, and actually you should be landing shorter than anything else.
Yeah.
You always, you look at the dynamics and mechanics of it. If you ask someone outside the sport, you'd say, oh, you'd be way over. It's like, no, it's actually not the way it works.
In theory, it shouldn't be, but I do think that's what happened with Chloe in that situation.
Simon McCarthy Gotcha, of course, established him as well on the circuit last year as part of Major League as well, the Irishman. Great to see him back here riding under the Irish flag. Several good wins that he had as part of teams previously too. And a little bit of a quick pace the first, and he has that down as well.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So just on the 4, and again, you don't want to think about pace because Chloe Reid there went into 2nd place just to re-establish that. So we're talking a class of, as I say, Grand Prix money, just over $140,000, and you're sitting in 2nd. Jordan Coyle is on a clear. 1 clear at the moment.
He had to fight there, didn't he?
Bit of adjustment down the line now. And interesting, I mean, that fence hasn't come down much, but it's this establishing line, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a setup. It really is. You're getting over the Maple Leaf Oxer. It sets in quite nicely. That was a better ride. See how he just dropped in? Folded up over the plank.
Get a bit of space to the last. Gave himself some time. Just finishing on the 4, 76.06. Could argue it either way, but it will leave him in 4th place so far for Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Just the first fence.
First fence, back legs. He rode that last line as well as anybody has.
So still the one clear. McLean Ward and Cedric, an 11-year-old by Christian. Not a Cedric that we've known before. This is the next generation. Great to see McLean back in the saddle. He's been out for a little while with a collarbone injury. We've seen him at the shows training, but this is the first show back in the saddle, which is good to see. But unfortunately, that's part of the vagaries of a very difficult, brave sport.
Yes.
But, you know, his class, again, is shining out all the time. Of course, Dutch Masters winner this year, Geneva winner last year, and some brilliant rounds in Arcot in the Nations Cup there as well.
If we start listing off all his accomplishments, we'll be into a possible jump-off before we finish.
Well, we won't have we'll have finished the Grand Prix before I get to stage, so I'm just going to enjoy watching him back in the plate.
Trust his process, and for any young professional or young rider who's making their way in this sport, believe in your process. Find something that works and then sticks with it. You will absolutely not be deterred. Just look at that body position. It's all about discipline. You could just basically take him as a cutout, and any of his horses he looks always the same on. And so many different types, which I think is a model of a great rider. See how he just lands there, Stephen, and folds.
Yeah.
Oh, did not see that coming. I thought he'd ridden that triple bar perfectly.
Well, he's going to be on the 4 as well, 76.84. That's a shame. McLean Ward and the 11-year-old Cedric. Good form for 90% and just dropping a rail there as well for the American.
I thought he'd ridden the triple bar absolutely superbly and just landed in short like you were saying.
Ashley Bonds, we keep handing over the gauntlet to the next one to deliver a clear, and so far it's Jordan Coyle and Ariso. Ashley and Garfield, a pair we saw last week, of course, as well. At Angelstone, very different conditions, but again, this is where you establish the top combinations that can go in all of those different conditions. And Garfield, now a 12-year-old Dutch-bred horse by Shelthago for Ashley. Of course, the Israeli rider also part of that squad. A little bit of look at the first there.
Pulled your arm out the socket there, holding on so tight. He just drifts a little bit left when she goes for the gas pedal. And she was slightly on the left-hand side of the first fence. He got very honest for her and came back to it. Here's another rider that has incredible self-belief.
But again, going back to McLean, so much, you know, I go and see the European riders a lot and everything. So much is about a good program.
Yes.
You know, you go and watch Ben May, you go and watch Scott Brash, you know, from my local riders, if you like. But, you know, whether it's Luc Geberbab, they have such well-established programs. This doesn't happen by chance. They don't open the stable door on a Monday and go, what are we going to do now?
What are we going to do today? No, it's all planned. It's all logged. So they can always go back to the information and say, okay, what worked? What did we do that week?
Now, get it right, Ashley. Yes, she does.
So far. Come on, Ash.
I might not have to retire today. Go on. Good shot.
Hey, we get you for another day.
You get me for another day.
Oh, my goodness me.
There we go, on the clear. And it is the second of the clears there for Ashley Bonds and Garfield. Very nicely done. And so Jordan Coyle gets a little bit of opposition now with Ashley Bonds into the jump off.
But you see how she came off the plank and she went out for 4 strides, turned, and then took her 3 strides to come in. She stayed patient with it and let the line develop. Beautiful.
Andrew Wells now, idle H&H with the Dutch-bred horse from Action Breaker. Again, he's been bringing this horse nicely through Traverse City over the last few months as well. Number of classes there through those 3 and 5 star weeks that we've had, but really establishing through those 2 and 3 star Grand Prix as well to become a solid combination together. Now, Andrew, who's been a team rider back to year 1 of Major League jumping as well. We're up to our 23rd. It took to our 22nd to get our second clear of the class, but it's no giveaway, and it doesn't need to be either. There we go, nicely at the first fence.
I don't know how many years ago it was, Steve, like 15, maybe even 20, but I did a clinic out in Minnesota, and
That's
a young junior lad named Andrew Wells,
yes,
came and attended.
Yeah, there we go.
He's worked so hard at it. He'll be disappointed with that. He balanced around the turn nicely, but just ran out of room. And same thing there. Pushed right through the front rail of the combination. Looks like Andrew.
Yeah, I think he might be pulling up after that. So this is one of the probably bigger tracks this pair have gone to, certainly early in the week. I'm anticipating if you as you say, a courtesy fence. There we go.
Just going to get over and get comfortable.
Yeah. So going to be a retirement there for Andrew Wells and idle H&H this time. Top view looks like this. Jordan Coyle and Ashley Bonds as our 2 clears. Chloe Reed in 3rd so far with Crossover. Shane Sweetnam after that with Siok and then Simon McCarthy top 5 on the 4 faults as well. So well worth a fast trip on the 4 at the moment. We're in Ballard, just having a little walk past the first rail. Coconut.
I'd be standing in front of it for about 30 seconds and then turn left and go. Well, this is definitely a step up in class for this horse.
Yeah, 9-year-old by Coleman, but in well-established hands, of course, with the World Championship rider in Erin Ballard. Nice for her to be able to get back on Canadian soil for a few weeks as well. Spend a lot of her career down into the US, especially in recent years as well, but has jumped all over the globe, top-class rider.
I don't think anybody works harder in this sport than this lady.
I think I need a calculator for the number of horses she rides.
Oh, it's ridiculous. She was down for a couple of weeks at the World Equestrian Centre in Ocala, Stephen, and I think her lightest day was 16.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from a show organizer's standpoint, she's an absolute delight because we did not wait for her at all. Their program, the Landforders organization, is absolutely top notch. And he has got a great rider in Erin. Wicked sense of humor.
Finished well, of course, top 5 into the Angelstone Grand Prix last week. But this is a less experienced ride from that point of view. Just tried to cut that a little bit.
I think so, but in Erin's defense, I think she's riding for the back rail. That's her job, especially with a young horse. And then you get them to look after the front rail, and Coconut just stayed on it. And a little bit flat there at the plank as well. Great experience, though.
Absolutely leaves them on a total of 8, 77.71. Going to be one that's going to be getting some more big rounds into them this year. Erin Ballard and Coco Net goes a little bit further, just gets a little bit of pace down to that Maple Leaf Oxford. Same with the plank as well, and both of those dropping for her. Nal Nassar and Dorado de Riverlands for the 10-year-old by Untouchable for, again, the Olympic rider, the Egyptian rider who's long time been living here in the US as well. Top ride in Igor. Queen's Cup winner this year as well at Calgary, at Spruce Meadows too. One of the I would like to say one of the biggest wins of his career, but he's won several $1 million classes now.
Yeah. There is something though about the title, I think, on some of those events, and the Queen Elizabeth II Cup is definitely one of them. It's yes, the prize money is something, but I think having your name on that title, having your name on that trophy is
makes a difference.
It's a little bit special.
And the rider that was battling with some injuries earlier on in the year as well now seems to be back to full fitness. Tough sport to do. Now this triple combination.
Well, and I think the thing is, and probably like a lot of professional athletes, you're always battling some kind of body ache or ailment. I'm not sure there's any single one of them who would say they're walking in here today feeling 100%. There's always something.
And the level now for riders in terms of competition, I mean, you know, they'll be staying away, staying at the hotel. Every morning, though, you'll see the majority of them in the gym before they even start this.
Doing something.
And doing something very effectively so far.
Oh! I thought he nailed it, and then no, the last one
two.
down too.
75-70, finishing on a score of 8 there for now. So last two fences coming down with looking really on course up to this point.
Tapped it in front and then finished it off behind. He just gets a little bit loose below the knee, and then back rail, back legs coming down.
David O'Brien now and El Balou. David having and again, second week of competition from having been at Angelstone as well. Had some good establishing classes here this week as well as part of those warm-ups, so hopefully that translates into what we see as well for him. Won nicely in Traverse City the other day as well, but this is a bit of a step up from that. But he's a well-established rider with a terrific string of horses, and here with the 11-year-old by El Dorado.
Quite a belter of a result this morning in the winning round. Qualified in the 9th position, moved all the way up to 5th. Taking no chances at the first fence. Beautifully done. Just allowed the second fence to come to him. Trust the carefulness. I'd just like to see him just move up a little bit more.
It's a little steady.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe he's just thinking, I get into the course. We've got a bit inverted there coming out there. I wonder if that might be a little bit of a gap in this one, is that when you open him up, he maybe loses his form. And he's got all the power in the world. Look at that. Ooh, got by with that, didn't he?
We'll just see for time because it's just a little bit steady.
Steady, yeah.
Might just get there.
I think he's okay as long as he doesn't panic. He's done it.
It's a nice shot at it.
Great trip.
76.50. Well done down the last, and clear for David O'Brien, as you say. But again, that's finding your balance. He was a little bit steadier in the middle of the course there. Made some moves towards the end of the course to save a bit of ground and got there very nicely. El Balou and David O'Brien has really established a good partnership with this horse from the Chaznet farm. Came from it is owned by the Keenan family. Passed it over to David. He's been very good at riding young horses as well, and he's really now coming to the fore with that, as you say, with Faro a little bit earlier on in the winning round. He's just getting a set of horses now that he can really go confidently with. And there is Lily Keenan. There we go. It is going to be the third clear, David O'Brien and El Balou, alongside Ashley Bond and Jordan Coyle. Lily Keenan with Agana, and the 12-year-old French bred by Aganix. For Lily, it's been a good year for her as well. Grand Prix winner too in Spruce Meadows back in the summer as well. From her side of things, does very well on the grass. Won in Monterey last year as well. But again, is another rider that's well capable of producing a good round on any surface.
This is an absolute belter of a horse, Agana. Got all the quality Lily really has matured into a top rider for Team USA and Robert Ridland. Just skipping along. Now, for me, there, Stephen, she could have been a bit more square through that turn. She sort of drifted through it. He's a naturally quick horse. I don't think she needed to be anywhere near as aggressive into that oxer.
You could see the plan. It just didn't quite happen, unfortunately. But yes, you're just trying to stay tight to keep close on the time. But as you say, you might well have had the pace there anyway. But we'll see. Fast Four will still put them in the money.
It comes around a little blind if you're not careful. You know, you come around the triple bar there.
Yeah, time is good.
Really nice ride to that last fence. See how she stayed out.
Just finishing on the 4, 76.10. It is 4 there for Lily Keenan and Tagana. Little look off that turn. You say you literally come 2 strides, just came out of that, firing forward, and just cost them a rail as they just got into that Mark Motors fence. Connor Swale, Kelsey at EBZ. With Alexis Sokolov that we saw her ride a number of times, but now Connor, who trains Alexis, is picking up the ride into the 5 stars, and this becoming an established combination over the last few months as well, which is great for him. Of course, he's been now a consistent part of the world's top 10 for quite some time. Currently ranked number 10, got as far up as number 5. Connor, again, has just been looking for the formula over the last few months to get a few more of the number 1 spots together, but this, I think, combination will certainly help them do that.
Right.
Connor also we had the draw party, as many of you follow the way the teams come together for the draw. They had a task yesterday, which was the nearest the pin in golf, and Connor, I will say, was the closest of the riders. The winning team, they subbed in a pro, so I'm not going to count that one. Connor did very well.
He's got some golf swing, doesn't he?
He has. He's beaten me a few times.
How about Vanessa Mannix?
Very impressive.
I
Very
mean,
impressive.
She was,
who he trains.
I
don't think he's been training her golf as well. But anyway, we're getting off the subject. 2 nice fences to start off with.
I think they got the first fence sorted out now. I think word's got back to the collecting ring. Don't take fence 1 for granted. The word for me to describe Connor Swale, Stephen, is smooth. Everything about him allows the horses to do what they do best. Always puts them in the optimum position. You don't always realize, oh my goodness. That was anything but smooth, but that's how you ride. You got to come up with something at times. And boy, did he ever. He's a little wide. He's going to have time.
He's going to be close. He's going to be too close. He's going to be over it. Yeah, it's too time. But what a nice building combination, Connor Swale and Kelsey at EBZ. As say, some of it will be getting mileage in there, but this is looking good for them. And I think some really big Grand Prix results potentially to come forward.
I think there's no question.
Yeah.
He'll, you know, some of the problems that he had round there, they will definitely be ironed out.
Tiffany Foster now, and another one in terrific form, Northern Lights, and many, of course, witnessed that emotional win back into Vancouver this year when Tiffany won the 5-star Grand Prix there on the first Major League stage. First 5-star Grand Prix, surprisingly, that she had won, and she literally does it in her own backyard where she was brought up, family there as well. It was wonderful for her. But we've moved on from then. She's had 5-star wins at Spruce Meadows, and she has been certainly running the cash machine in Vancouver. She's getting win after win after win over at T-Bird as well in the last few weeks.
Well, and great because for a number of years, I mean, she really didn't ride there. She was spending so much time basically between Wellington, Europe, and I guess ultimately Calgary. Those were the main spots. But yeah, really started to go back home again. And
well, and has established a base there now. She's built a farm there as well, just down from the showgrounds too.
Wow, what a beautiful part of the world. Thunderbird Show Park. If you've never been, go check it out. Well, that was too bad. Looks like maybe got a little bit stuck coming off the ground behind.
Yeah, last fence drops as well.
But again, see through that turn there, Stephen, and then when on takeoff, the stripes and the poles tell you exactly where the horse is. She's on the right-hand side, and she's going right. So that that distance, it's not going to be what you walk it. See right there. She needed to be about another 2 feet over to the left.
Jessica Mendoza and play for the British rider. Now well established with a base in the US on the 11-year-old Swedish bred combination. Former European Championship rider was shortlisted again here for the British team for 2023. Takes us up to our 30th of 39 in the first round of this Steelcraft Doors $142,500 class. 3 clears at the moment. Jordan Coyle, Ashley Bond and David O'Brien.
Well, she got 1 and 2 out the way. Now she can set about the course.
Yeah.
Come on, Jess. Just having a little bit of a fight here. Getting play organized. And that really does break your rhythm. She's going to have to find a spot here, I think, coming right now. You really got to get back on it. Looks like he's a big, strong horse. Gonna go. Floating on down on the 6. Almost looks like the brakes are starting to wear out. Getting nice and close, land shallow. Now sit up, hold him off, hold him off.
Got there, but time is going to be close.
Not going to make it.
Too close.
Yeah.
Another one, last fence, just going to be 2 time as well. It is going to be 80.60 there for Jessica Mendoza and play. You know, you've got to look at that last fence, and they come on a turn here, and we'll probably see this one back here as well. And you've just got to maintain that balance there.
You really do. You have to be so disciplined and committed to the arc of the turn.
Which goes back to a little of what I'm saying earlier of the fence, the water tray that he's just riding back there. There's nothing really to set you up for it. It's not like you're doing a related distance on 4 strides and saying, this is what I do. We've given you an open space and say you have to stay, as you say, disciplined within that space to keep yourself on the correct line. Amy Miller, who's been so brilliant at it. Truman is the appropriately named horse to stay on a true line. The 14-year-old by Milord Carthago for Amy. Again, she's well acquainted with the Wesley Clover Parks here, and a wonderful facility that it is. And not just, I'm going to point out here, and you'll see more of this week through various little pieces that we'll bring you, not just for the 5-star riders. The kids have been riding their lessons at the back there. They've been having fun. They've been dressed up. I mean, and that's what happens here day to day, and that's wonderful for this park that's central to it, to bring the best riders in here for them to come and watch and see.
Absolutely.
And meet them.
And there's a full-on national horse show going on all at the same time.
Yeah. Of which she's been winning here quite a lot in the last few weeks. So I think She went through almost the racing equivalent of going through the card the other
Right.
day.
Home base about an hour west of here in Perth.
Ooh.
There we go, Truman. He's feeling it. They really have formed a great partnership, these two, over the last couple of 3 years.
Alex, is 3 minutes going to be okay for highlights? Do you think we'll have 3 minutes of highlights?
It makes such a difference as a rider when you bring your horse into the ring and you are almost 100% certain of what they're going to produce for you, and you know where you can get them. It looks like she's going to be just about okay. Now stay out. She's done it. Amy Miller.
Amy Miller and Truman put another 0 against the lineup. And it is going to give us, what, 4 of the clears now. Amy Miller, David O'Brien, Ashley Bonds, and Jordan Coyle. Nice to hear again the cheers coming out from all directions. Stands filling up on a Friday afternoon here too. And some of those that have come over from their lessons earlier on, and they are watching the best in action.
Well, government offices are closed now, so everybody's coming on.
You know that better than I do, but yes. Yeah, it is 4:05 in the afternoon. Santiago Lambre and Zeus, what a very good run he had last week. It's Angelstone as well, was very much in the heat of battle there on several occasions. And now for the Brazilian with Zeus, that again this season's been getting a little bit more experience, finished second in a big 5-star at Spruce Meadows as well. Again, good grounding for them here this week. Back on the turf, hopefully feel confident there, and have certainly been putting plenty of good established wins down together in Florida as well.
Yeah. This one made its North American debut down at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, where Santiago's been spending a lot of time and, quite frankly, taking out a lot of money. This really can jump, this horse. Can get a little bit strong at times. He's such a great rider. He does like these ones with blood. And he will fight every inch of the way. Ooh, a little bit of a tap, but see how he just he fought him all the way through that turn. He was never settled as he came through the corner.
Again, a little thought on the fork can still put you the money, but you can't rush this last line either. He gets right out there, really gets the curve there.
Yeah, look at that.
Just going to leave him a fraction over the time for doing it, but it was the right move to make, I would say, from their point of view. So, going to finish on 5, puts on the one-time fault there for Santiago Lambre and Brazil. Zeus, again, is just really getting more and more exposure to the 5 stars this year. Didn't want to shake things up at the last, stuck to his plan.
100%.
Now, Charlotte Jacobs and Android 3K. Now, this is a pairing actually that jumped at Hickstead a few weeks ago on the grass there as well. So she was heading over there. Now back over here, 12-year-old, and by VDL Zorocco Blue. And they've jumped some really lovely rounds together. It's probably been a little bit more under the radar with this horse because of Rincula Milchon that she's been going same weather and Edo Centre. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out for them today.
He's a lovely model.
Charlotte, as we've seen, another one have a good run last week as well.
awful lot to like about the way Android. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I mean, you were saying it's not caused a problem. Down it goes. Little casual maybe.
Again, widens the range of fences down that we've seen so far. Yes, she jumped for clear and 4 with Runkula in the Grand Prix last week at Angelstone as well.
Well, then just push right through the front rail of the Oxa. The triple combination. 7B. He's not very happy, is he?
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice and tight. I like him because he's just compact. He's tidy in front.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
the front end is absolutely spectacular.
He just looks like he's a little power piece. Not that little, but you know what I mean.
Yes, no, I know
Tight-
exactly what
tight,
you mean.
compact.
I
Yeah.
love there. She just galloped on down to the last fence. But 2 on the floor and 2 on the clock. Another one just probably a foot closer than she'd have liked. So she hit that skinny rail going up and going forward.
Finishes on a total of 10 there for Charlotte Jacobs this time, an Android at 3K. Natalie Dean and a Kota M been some year for her as well with the 10-year-old By Too Long, but with a wide string of horses for Natalie as well. Trains with Alarm Fur that we mentioned a little bit earlier on with Erin Ballard as well. But Natalie, good performance out on the grass in Falsterbo in Sweden on the Nations Cup team there as well with this combination too. But as I say, she's had a good string of horses to be able to pick through this year and has really established herself at the top level as a really solid rider to go to too.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, but isn't this one she rode in Aachen?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, and I mean, what a performance there for a young rider. I mean, that is an absolute cauldron. And 4 faults, if I remember rightly, in each of those rounds. So keeper scores for Robert Redland. I mean, that is experience. Those are days you can look back on and you can draw from, and go, okay, this really is no problem.
Now gave herself some width coming round
Yep.
that corner that we talked about down to the Mark Motors fence there. Nicely through the triple combination.
When you know as a rider that all you have to do is not mess up and your horse is going to do everything, it makes such a difference. It gives you the freedom. Carried too much pace in there a little bit, Stephen.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you got that all sorts of wrong.
Sit back. Oh. No, and probably go past, yes.
Yeah, regroup.
Unusual for them, but it's all connected.
Yep. The pace was really building through that double.
There we go.
And then she just carried a little bit too much of it for me through the turn to the triple bar.
23 the total here through the triple combination and back further around the course. This is where she had that first rail down. She said just started travelling at that point. Not a lot she could do at the plank by then. They were off balance. I mean, they did well.
Yeah, I mean, give her full marks for just even thinking about trying to get it done.
Dara Kenny, first of 4 left to go. Dara, we've got Caroline Mulwinning, got Daniel Coyle, and Kyle King still to come in this final lineup yet. We're going to see at the moment 4 of them on the scoreboard to return for round 2. Now to the next of the Irishman with Irwin. Irwin, a 10-year-old by Cannon. Cannon needing little introduction as the top stallion. Has been across quite a few. I won't list them again. Would be finished next Wednesday. But for him, again, it's been really interesting to see with Dara, from Chic the other day to the horse that he jumped and finished top 3 in the Grand Prix in Angelstone as well. And for him, it's been a really establishment of a new set of horses around him too, as well as some old names too.
Right. Well, that was an odd one. Back rail of the MLSJ Oxa. fence number 3. I mean, it is wide. It's meter 50 high, meter 60 wide. It's a real proper oxer. You know, you get a rider like Dara who has really developed several strings now over the past number of years. But then they start to, they start to age out the horses. You're constantly on the lookout for the next ones, and then it takes time to develop them. All the meanwhile, you're trying to stay in that top 30, which he's done quite well.
Just going to finish on the 4:74.10, and actually time-wise that will help him because it's the fastest of the 4s, and so goes into 6th place there for Dara Kenny and Irwin. So although a fence down at that Major League Oxer, he still leaves himself in with a chance of some money. And the Major League Oxer is interesting because the wings, although they're wide, are that little bit shorter.
Yes.
So it looks bigger, it looks more intimidating, and you've got not that sort of tunnel to go through with the wings either side to just push you in.
It looks like an absolute house when you make the turn to it.
Yeah, but it's not quite as.
No.
But it looks worse. It looks more intimidating than it is. I'm not saying I'm about to ride it anyway.
Not a chance, mate.
No. But Caroline Mawhinney is, because she's on Danse de Buisson Z, the 12-year-old, by Dutch Capital for the teen from the US. And again, she's already making good waves. Caroline actually part of the winning team for the iCaddy squad at Vancouver at the opening stage as well. And gold medal with Stella La Vista in juniors in 2022. I say she's still just in her teenage years. And finished well in the Young Rider Championships this year, into 6th place in the Young Rider Finals, this time just a few weeks ago. What was that, 2 and a bit weeks ago in Traverse City? And again, that's the Major League fence dropping.
Well, that might be exactly what you were just talking about. For a young rider like Caroline, it is an intimidating fence. So you'd like to be composed, but you just tighten up a little bit. She rode that very well. Noticed a little bit yesterday, and she rode very well, but Dance can get quite strong as the back end of the course comes along. Maple leaf comes down. This is going to be a great experience for this young rider.
There we go, finishes just a touch over the time, 13:79.13. But again, it's been really interesting to see the teenage rider, Mimi Gotchman, another one. She started well. And as much as you want them to come straight out the starting blocks and be an absolute superstars, you're going to have good days and you're going to have days where you go, that was a learning day.
For sure. And there's going to be, we said earlier, you're going to have way more learning days than you're going to be feeling like a superstar.
Daniel Coyle has good, actually, reason to feel like a superstar, though, because he's world number 15 at the moment, with his 13-year-old Quinton for Canadian ownership, of course, of Ariel Grange, and with the Dutch bred gelding by Caprice Bois Margot for Daniel. Continues to be a well-established name also here in Canada. Past winner, of course, in Toronto at the Royal Winter Fair, at the World Cup qualifier there as well. And Daniel, well, again, has been putting a string of good results together this year as well for him. Again, he's been tracking both sides of the Atlantic over the last few months as well. Another one that's been onto the Irish team now, European and World Championship rider as well. Nice win in Aachen for him too. And won the winning round at Angelstone last week with Ivory. Different ride on that occasion.
And won it this morning.
Yep.
From an unusual position, came from the middle of the pack. He had a bit of an unlucky rail, but as usual was very quick in that first round. So guaranteed himself a spot to come back and won it going away. It has to be said.
And winning round, back to 0 in round 2. So it gives you that chance. Now he makes very little of the Major League fence. But
you watch a rider like Daniel, and you can just, his confidence exudes, it just oozes from him. He's so comfortable.
But it's been interesting, you know, because he's been training with Jeroen Dubbeldam as well and seeing them establish, you know, and he's really taken what was raw talent and shaped him into a world-class rider, what is now a top 20 rider.
While keeping those instincts, and I think that's the that's the key, right? I mean, you're going to learn all sorts of things from a guy like Jeroen, but if you can keep those winning instincts that Daniel will have honed as a pony rider in Ireland, that is a deadly combination.
Well, like I say, he was starting with a good base. That's the thing. But now, again, patient to the last, and so there we go, 76.64.
Class, absolute class that, Steve.
Really good round from Daniel Coyle, goes clear, could go for a double today. And Daniel gives us clear round number 5, as John said, winning round a little bit earlier on. Will it be the winning round in this class? We'll see. He could be last to go. There's still one to go in the first round yet, but he's got a prime position into that jump-off. Not that it is a big, wide-ranging jump-off. 5 at the moment. Thankfully, there was more than one. But Jordan Coyle, for a long time, his brother was the only clear at that point. Ashley Bond, David O'Brien, Amy Miller and Daniel Coyle. So we've got 3 for Ireland, 1 for Canada, 1 for Israel. USA would like to plant their flag in that group as well, and Kyle King has the opportunity to do it with the 10-year-old Sarolino, the Holsteiner by Ciro, for another rider who's again been well established in Major League Jumping, number of times onto the podium in the Grand Prix, and terrific runs, of course, back to what will be our final stages at the Desert Horse Park later on this year as well.
Little fun fact for you with Kyle King, Steve.
These things always make me nervous.
Kyle had the unfortunate privilege, let's call it, of
now more nervous
of coming second to me in my last ever Grand Prix win.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I like to remind him of that on every occasion.
Shall I remind you that he won the Grand Prix there, I think, last week?
It does not surprise me. He's won way more than I ever did. But it did. It was a lot of fun because he is a fast rider.
Yeah.
And Thunderbird is one of my favorite places in the world. That was too bad. Just got a little bit loose through the corner on the big grey. Sarolino. Well, Ireland are going to be in fine shape for the shootout.
Yeah.
Still some jumping to do for Kyle. I'd like to get a good piece of the prize money plus the points.
I say, four faults here can still very easily put you in the money.
Oh my goodness, he got up in the air there, didn't he? Just a bit loose again in front.
That's going to put them further down. So going to be, last fence down as well. Going to put them on 12.78.09. And so 3 down this time for Kyle King. Elevated over the Major League fence, but unfortunately not quite the same after that. And for them, again, building into the 5-star shows. It's actually top 5 in Vancouver last week. And but he's had plenty of wins over there at T-Bird. Picks up at the last, but unfortunately not enough. And so completes our first round as well. We're going to catch up with Hannah in just a moment's time as well to run into what is going to be the build-up to our jump-off as well. And just to remind you, those 5 clears so far: Jordan Coyle, Ashley Bond, David O'Brien and Amy Miller, and finally down to Daniel Coyle, who will be the last into that jump-off. Looks like Hannah's about to catch up with Connor Swell, because I can see his dog Ralph walking into the arena as well.
It's a dead giveaway, isn't it?
The two are barely far apart, and some terrific shots there, as you see, of the build a little bit earlier on as part of this Major League event here in Oshawa. Little look across the grounds, and we're going to head down to the floor to catch up with Hannah, who looks like she's with Connor Swale.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm standing here with Connor Swale, who has just very narrowly missed out on a slot in the jump-off. Connor, would you say that this is something that's happened to you recently as well? Talk us through what happened in there.
Yeah, I thought the mare was very good today. It was a little bit my own fault. I jumped 1 to 2 and I was very slow back to 3. it's a long way back there, and yeah, it took a little bit too much time here and there, and unfortunately I paid the penalty.
And is that something that is it a bit of a strategy then to give this mare a bit more time?
Absolutely not. No, I felt I was okay for time actually, but I have incurred a few time faults on her over the past few weeks. She's a new horse for me, and we're just getting to know each other. And I must say, I'm quite excited about her. She's been clear over the last three shows I've done, and she was clear again today. So, as much as we had a few time faults, I'm looking forward to the Grand Prix on Sunday with her.
And I was just about to ask then about the plan for the Grand Prix. You'll be riding her again?
Yeah, she'll go again, so she'll get a rest day tomorrow and get freshened up, and then I'll try and go clear inside the time on Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Hannah.
Well, there, Connor Swale just on the 2 time faults there, leaves him in 6th place. Further down, Derek Kenny into 7th. Chloe Reid picking up money there in 4 faults as Shane Sweetnam and Simon McCarthy complete the top 10. And here at Ottawa, there are some of the teams that are going to be competing here tomorrow as well. That is actually the order that they are currently in the championship. But we're worrying about today's class and have a little look back at some of those that are featuring as part of today's competition. John Garner alongside me. And so this was part of the build a little bit earlier on. And John, it was, as we talked about early on, wasn't easy.
Well, the story of this competition for me so far, Steve, has been fence 1.
Yes.
Like, I mean, how often do you hear that? I mean, I've never seen the first jump come down as often as it did today, but it was big and strong right out of the gate. Michelle Vaillancourt, frankly, did it on purpose, and rails everywhere, which is the mark of a great course. He's got quality all the way through the field. But as we have talked before many times, is that in a high-level competition such as this, you also have quite a variety. And we talked about having some young riders who are coming in and learning their trade. And you don't want to get anybody disillusioned. You certainly don't want to get anybody hurt. But I thought he set out a beautiful track.
Yeah, really interesting class. This is from a little bit earlier on as well. Good winning round class a little bit earlier on today. John, we well established some good competition there too. And it was a good start there for Daniel Coyle. Daniel has got another shot here with a class that is coming up as well. So we're going to look forward to that. And we're going to be back in a few moments' time as we established for that jump-off class.
Steelcraft Door Products has been manufacturing the highest quality residential, commercial, and industrial doors since 1963. Located in Edmonton, Alberta, our updated facility is over 500,000 square feet of state-of-the-art manufacturing. Steelcraft Door Products is a privately owned Canadian company with distribution centers and dealership partners across the country. We remain the only garage door manufacturer in North America able to customize our door products to fulfill all of our customers' requirements. Constructed with 100% Canadian steel, our products are designed to withstand even the most extreme weather conditions. At Steelcraft, we know our customers are particular, and our doors should be too. Through our engineering processes, materials, and distinctive designs, we can ensure that your garage doors function at the highest level of quality and durability. This Grand Prix qualifier is brought to you by Steelcraft Door Products.
Well, Wesley Clover Parks, this beautiful spot here just outside the capital city of Ottawa is where competition takes place. And so we are certainly heating it up here with our jump-off qualifiers. What a really interesting first round. Jordan Coyle gave us that early clear with Ariso. We had to wait quite some time until Ashley Bond followed it up with Garfield. And then David O'Brien and El Balou brought in another one for the Irish. The home nation have plenty to cheer with Amy Miller and Truman right on here on home ground for them. And finally, Daniel Coyle might be the one to just spoil the party yet with Quinton as the last to go as part of this jump-off. And so with 5 to contend for the $142,500 in the Steelcraft Door Products Grand Prix qualifier, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. Some shots of the grounds there, this beautiful grass arena, beautifully striped, terrific going, and we're looking forward to this. And down on the ground is Hannah catching up with some of our riders and what's happening.
Yes, thank you very much. What a competition we've had here already. Quite a lot of difficult questions all the way around this course, of course, set by Michelle Van Court. And 5 come forward now to crunch time to the jump off in this Steelcraft 5-star Grand Prix qualifier. As we've just heard, we've got representatives from many different countries in the world coming forward here in this jump off. We've got a battle of 2 brothers in Jordan Coyle and Daniel Coyle. Jordan will be riding Ariso, who of course is a former Major League show jumping 5-star Grand Prix winner, and Daniel Coyle brings forward Quinton. Ashley Bond comes forward for Israel with Garfield and will be followed in by David O'Brien and El Balou OLD. Amy Miller will be the representative for Canada and will be one who I'm sure these spectators will be getting behind in this competition. Truman is her ride. But that field has been whittled down to just 5 riders and horses now, and it's absolutely all to play for. They're looking for a spot in the Grand Prix. This is what it's all about.
Well, thank you, Hannah. We are preparing for that jump off, and as we see, that is the wonderful spot that is here from a little bit earlier on. Those are our teams competing here. Well, it's time to up the horsepower and up the speed. Combination that both those defenders up there and the Range Rover, I'm sure, can do very neatly. But we're going to be slipping through the gears with our 5 in the jump off, and John Garner is alongside me as part of this Major League show jumping show, and we're ready to go into the jump off. Here is the here and now of those going into that jump off round. Jordan Coyle going to start us off with Ariso. And John, I mean, this horse we've just seen in the first round really cover the ground. I've seen this horse and jump off again. It just has a massive reach.
Right, and I think that's going to bode well in this course. It's not overly twisty, but I think Jordan's job really is to probably be a hair on the defensive side, at least early on, and post that clear round, and then force those riders following him into doing things that they really don't want to do.
So let's run you through the fences for that jump off. 1, 2, 3. So that dreaded first fence is back in. Whether they made, I'm not sure whether they made any changes to it or
I
not.
hope
They
he's
might,
put it
they
down.
might have just ramped it a little bit to help them a little bit in that second round. We'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go back across the centre to 7A and B. We're going to the water tray at 8. And from there, it is to new fence 15, which is actually the RBC final fence in reverse.
Well, there we go. There's a stride already you were talking about. Absolute flyer. Now, this is a risk-reward deal here. Leave a couple of strides out there, but it makes the turn that little bit harder, a little bit wider. But I think that's what Jordan's planning on. And then sharp right turn to the combination. He's opened the door a little bit there for me, but this is good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He did 9 strides. I walked actually a sort of for sure a weight in 10. He made a weight in 9. He is absolutely thrilled with that.
Absolutely, it's clear at 38.57. Like I say, that is a horse that just eats the ground, just has such a massive reach for them. And as you said, that's why they could come down to the last fence on the 9, nice and easy from that point of view. Was landing over the water tray in 30 seconds, so we'll keep an eye on that. But 38.57 final time. Ashley Bond says, okay, have a little look around. What have you left me with? Okay.
What he has left is through the turns.
Yes.
You are not going to catch that horse on the open straightaway. So, you know, frankly, in the old John Whittaker approach to it, I think if you add a stride going into the Brook Street upright, fence number 4, I think you can save 2 or 3 on the land side and the roll back to the combination.
And that's the thing, Ariso's more a steam train going on you know, on tracks, whereas you say just be maybe a little bit more nimble on there, but when he's going, he is absolutely powering down. Good turn away from 2.
Yeah. She got into that turn quicker. And now really you just rail came down. So
but
now
you see she's coming 30 seconds there. He was then going to be that little bit quicker. 38.57 is Jordan's time. So they're not far off, but it is that bit behind. So going to leave her on the 4 there for Ashley Bond, and Garfield will confirm that time for them as we take a look at them through here. Got the height.
Yeah, I think Ashley again, just into the move, thinking about getting into the corner, into the turn as quick as she could. And just cut down on that back rail. 38.82 was their time.
So not too far off that of Jordan's time. There we go, confirmed there. 38.82 there for Ashley Bond. But again, he's put a little bit of pressure on, enough pressure on there to say to the rest, okay, come and get me. Jordan Coyle, 38.57. David O'Brien now Violence. And El Baloo, that will leave then Amy Miller and Daniel Coyle settle in.
Well, we said, you know, leave all the fences up and then try and get those following you to get a little uncomfortable. I think he's done that. David O'Brien is in for quite the day. Super result in the winning round this morning. Guaranteed no worse than 5th today. He'll be looking for more than that. Did that nice.
Yeah.
Very well into that turn. Just see how El Baloo dropped into the corner. You love it when your horse is with you. Like that. That was good. That was very good. Now he's just got to trust it and just keep going.
38.57. It's not going to be enough.
It's close.
39.54. 39.54 into second place for David O'Brien and El Baloo. But you have to say a well-crafted round.
It really was. I mean, he was managing for sure. I mean, it was. He had to do one less coming home to go take that away from Jordan.
Now, the Canadians getting the blood running because it is Amy Miller now, and Truman got a very good chance here. She rehearses her turn as well. Just having a look back from what will come back to the double there. Very comfortable in these surroundings.
Have to be non-partisan, right?
Yeah, well, we can establish it, you know. Are you going to be British now or Canadian?
Right now, Canadian.
That's all right, that's fine. I have to decide which side of the Atlantic occasionally as well.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Amy Miller. This would
Go
be
on,
a
Ames.
nice Friday afternoon crowd now watching.
That was good.
As you say, she could just steal it from Jordan on the efficiency on the turns.
Now go. You got to drop and kick. All right, she's just a bit too cautious there for me.
Ah. Be interested to see the final time here. It's going to be about 39 from that point of view. May just, yeah, 39.79, just on the four. As you say, you come off the style, the skinny, and that's where you maybe just got a chance a little bit.
Exactly, and I think you know, Jordan, just because of how he was approaching it, he found everything on the forward.
Yeah.
As Amy came through that turn, she couldn't find the gallop into the combination, so she found it waiting, slows everything down, and that also helped with getting that back rail.
Well, there's some money going to the Coyle family, whichever it is, but it's Jordan
right.
Coyle and Daniel Coyle, and they're two different households, so it's not going into the same pot. So it's definitely going to be a rivalry here. Daniel Coyle and Quintin going to be the last to go for Canadian ownership with Ariel Grange, so they will still keep the thing running.
Okay.
There we go. This could be a good halfway house. From that, he won earlier on in the winning round as well, so this could be a double up for Coyle here this afternoon as part of this Steelcraft 5-star Grand Prix qualifier.
Well, I said yesterday when Connor Swale won the feature class yesterday that I don't think it's the last time we're going to hear the Irish anthem, and we're going to hear it twice today.
Yep, regardless, it's going that way. Okay, will it be Jordan? Will it be Daniel?
How many times?
Two different, completely different types of horses.
For sure. How many times do you think, as kids, they have done this?
Oh, lots of times. Right from day one.
Right
yes.
from day one.
Made both of them better. Ooh.
Look at that, though. He put the brakes on right at the last minute, just so he didn't get flat and he could get the turn done. Right into that turn. He settled a little there.
But it's efficient.
Yeah.
Now he's got to have pace to the
now,
last.
Just go.
Now he's
Just
got to go. Well, he said...
he didn't like it. He didn't
No.
like it. He's fine. He's got it.
38.41. 38.41. It's going to be Daniel Coyle in the number one spot. He gave us a little bit of deep breath towards the final fence there. Then they got down to, that was the second fence a little bit earlier on. Got a good move away from this
Right
skinny. And
Right
now,
there,
as
yeah.
you say, just coming to the last, he started to let go and then went, that's not the one I want. And he got it there, and he got it there under the time. So Daniel Coyle, what a day for him. Doubles up for the Irishman. 2 wins for him. John, that was pretty impressive.
Oh, he's fantastic. You know, and that's just underlined, those 2 trips that we've seen from Daniel Coyle today, that underlines why he sits where he does in the world rankings. His first round was absolute class, and then he did what he had to do in the jump off. He knew he knew the plan. He knew where he could catch Jordan, and catch him he did.
There we go. Coyle 1-2, and Quintin finishes as the number one spot for Daniel. Jordan Coyle in second place with a Ariso. It's an Irish 1-2-3 actually, with David O'Brien with El Baloo in third, and fourth place to Ashley Bond and Garfield. Fifth spot to Canada's Amy Miller and Truman. Connor Swale, the best of those from round one on the 2-time faults with Kelsey at EBZ. Dara Kenny after that for the Irishman, finishing in seventh place, fastest of the fours. Chloe Reid, another very good round with crossover 4, really liking that combination, just with the one rail this time. And Shane Sweetnam and Siox there going into top 10 on the 4 faults as well. Simon McCarthy makes a return to the league as well. into our top 10 too. Lily Keenan just misses out on to 11th spot, but in the money there, as is Richie Maloney of Ireland. McLean Ward, lovely to see him back in the saddle, just on the 4 faults this time with Cedric. Ashley Vogel, similarly after that, and Vanessa Hood with Vins. Santiago Lamre just adds a time fault there for 5, separating him from Sean Jobin. And Matt Cohn, Jessica Mendoza and Ali Ramsey as part of the top 20. But a terrific round. Let's have a look at the winning round again with Daniel Coyle and Quinton. It came down to fractions in the end. John Garner alongside of me. John, let's talk this through, but good shot at the first.
Took a great shot, and then he galloped on, and then just see here, he throws out the anchor because he wants a really tight turn there. He didn't want to overshoot that corner. Very nicely done in here, and then this is measured. This is what I was saying earlier. He just takes his time here so then he can drop in. Jordan is about another 8-9 feet off to the left.
He's traveling.
He really is. He found a little bit of a waiting distance there into the combination. But what I like here, Stephen, he didn't lose his mind here. He kept coming, and then it wasn't showing for him, and then he balanced up just enough.
Good stuff from Daniel Coyle and Quinton, and we're going to catch up with Hannah, who is down with our winner. What a beautiful spot here in Ottawa.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm here with, of course, the winner of this Steelcraft 5-star Grand Prix qualifier, Daniel Coyle. Congratulations. Talk us through that round a little bit. You've just had a chance to watch it back.
Yeah, I just watched it on the screen. I presumed Jordan would be very quick and wouldn't want me to beat him, so I knew I had to take a few chances, and thankfully I got away with them.
Was there a little bit of sibling rivalry there?
Of course, there always is. We may be brothers, but when the helmet is on, we're just competitors.
And do you feel that this is a ring that suits your horse because you performed well here in the past?
Yeah, Quinton likes it better outdoors. He's a big striding horse with a lot of scope, so I look forward to coming here with him, and I look forward to Sunday also.
Tell us then about the plan on Sunday and for the rest of the week. Can we expect to see you in the team competition tomorrow?
Yeah, Ivory actually won the winning round this morning, so she's in great form. So we're hoping for big things for our team tomorrow. We haven't had so much luck so far, so we hope to make that a little better tomorrow. And Quinton hopefully can do the same as he did today.
Well, thanks so much and congratulations. We'll let you get on for your prize giving.
Thank you.
Well, there we have it then. 2 wins now today for Daniel Coyle. He takes the 5-star winning round and now the 5-star Steelcraft Grand Prix qualifier. Very much a man on form and one to watch in the Grand Prix on Sunday.